Hey, what's up, everybody? Brennan Morse here for Red State, and many of you might already know me as an unabashed nerd. I have been in the culture war for years and years and years at this point, and one of my favorite things is to watch a woke brand fail. The issue with it is that it's a pretty bittersweet thing because nowadays a lot of what the left, the social justice advocates, like to do is take a pre-established brand, a franchise, a character, and they will inject it with their ideology, their social justice advocacy, their woke culture nonsense. And they will use that character, IP, or franchise as a delivery system for their politics, effectively. Making your favorite character, your franchise, your galaxy far, far away, your Middle Earth, whatever, as a staging ground for their ideas. You've seen this recently with Rings of Power, with She-Hulk, which is a big self-insert by the writers. You saw it, again, with all sorts of the Star Wars brands nowadays. And it's very sad to watch because you grew up on these brands, on these characters, on these franchises, in these worlds. And I personally, it kills me a little bit to watch it happen every single time. One of the ones that has been so bastardized, so manipulated, so corrupted, was Doctor Who. And there was a time when I was watching more British television than I was American television, and Doctor Who was my favorite show from the UK. I would never miss an episode. I was when it aired on BBC America, I was right there. I would get mad at my family for coming in and making noise so that I couldn't hear what they were saying. From Christopher Eccleston's stint as the Doctor all the way up to Matt Smith's, Doctor Who was easily one of my favorite shows. Even going into the Peter Capaldi era, Peter Capaldi, an amazing actor who, as the Critical Drinker said, inherited a show on the decline. It was really sad to watch Peter Capaldi, a great actor, be forced to work with increasingly horrendous scripts. And it shouldn't surprise anybody that the woke culture nonsense infiltrated and infected Doctor Who, which is one of the reasons why the show was declining. Many people were just kind of getting tired of it a little bit. It was getting a little too heavy-handed and on the nose. And then Chris Chibnall inherits the show. He becomes the head writer. He hires Jodie Whittaker, an actress, to portray the Doctor. And from then on, Doctor Who became pretty much just like every other delivery system for woke culture nonsense. Everything was on the nose. It was messagey. It was boring. And many, many people left. And I've got this article written up at redstate.com right now. By the way, go to redstate.com and sign up for the VIP program. Use promo code SAVEAmerica. You'll get 40% off. You'll get some extra content that you don't normally get on the front page from some really great writers and podcasters. Trust me, you want it. And it really helps us out too. Because the legacy media is not our friend, and they are doing a lot to try to stop us. So, promo code SAVEAmerica, 40% off. Doctor Who alienated fans so badly that its finale had anemic ratings despite David Tennant's return. Now, David Tennant is probably my favorite Doctor. And, between him and Matt Smith, I really enjoyed both of their Doctors. But Tennant, honestly, in my opinion, especially for modern audiences, he's probably the Doctor. He has had a lot of amazing roles since then, but everyone knows him as the Doctor. So one thing that I found very interesting is that during his reign and Matt Smith's reign, you actually had pretty high viewership, millions of people watching. And then as Chibnall and Whittaker became the drivers of the show, that audience disappeared. I'm just going to go ahead and read this to you. The politicization of the show caused the majority of its fan base to walk away in frustration or anger. It was one of those legacy characters that modern politics infiltrated and destroyed from within. The bitterness of the fans could be heard far and wide, but nothing demonstrated the rejection of this politicization more than the ratings plummet. This includes its season finale that you may or may not have known was even happening, due to the fact that you gave up on the show long ago. According to BBC News, only 3.7 million people watched Whittaker's final episode. This is a bump for Whittaker's Doctor, who oversaw the lowest ratings the show experienced in years. As Cosmic Book News reported back in January of 2020, by the third episode of the 12th season, nearly a million fans had walked away, bringing the total to under 4.2 million. And by November of 2021, an estimated 3.4 million had watched episode 4 of the 13th season. This is a far cry from the millions that would tune in for Tennant and Smith's Doctors, who brought in an average of 8.3 million and 7.8 million viewers, respectively. Big time loss. Now you have a new. It's going in a new direction now. They're bringing back the old writer, who actually kind of helped that. Who helped it become more famous in the first place, Russell T Davies. But I don't really hold out hope for the Doctor, and I hate that. Because as it turns out, it seems, as Bounding Into Comics reported back in August, that this Doctor is going to be just as woke as the Jodie Whittaker Doctor, if not more so. I don't think that the Doctor has to be any specific race. He can be black, and that's perfectly fine. That's what we have coming up, apparently. I'm going to butcher this name. Tui Gatwa is going to portray the Doctor from here on out after the Tennant is brought back, which is, in my honest opinion, I think them bringing back Tennant as the Doctor for a few episodes is them trying to shock it back into life to get its heart pumping again. I just don't know if it will be enough, because if what we're seeing is correct, we're about to see the first gay Doctor. Now, many of you will know that Doctor Who is not supposed to be really in a romantic situation at all. He's a very, very old alien. They did give Doctor Who, Rose Tyler as a love interest during the Tennant era. Some people had a problem with that. Some people thought it was pretty natural, but either way, they didn't really revisit it again in a way that you typically think. Not a huge love story. They had River Song for Matt Smith and Capaldi, which, was there as a love interest, but it was kind of at a distance. It never really hit home. It never really truly became the focus of who Doctor Who was. Now we have a gay Doctor, and that just seems to be another politicization of a really great character. They're trying to introduce social justice values to a character that doesn't need it. Doctor was awesome because he traveled through space and time. He was very clever. He would solve mysteries that no one else could solve. He would be brave when no one else was. And now you have a Doctor who's seemingly going to be focusing more on social justice, just like Jodie Whittaker's Doctor was. And this is heartbreaking. Doctor Who is a character that has been around for decades and decades and decades, and we're watching it be destroyed before our very eyes. As From Heels vs. Babyface said it best, I thought. He said he just doesn't care anymore. He would be mad, but he just doesn't care anymore. And I think that is the final nail in any coffin for any franchise or brand. People just don't care anymore. And I feel like we're approaching that point with Star Wars. If we haven't already, people just don't care anymore. Marvel is approaching that. We just don't care anymore. People aren't showing up to watch these things. They've tuned out. They've gone elsewhere. And Doctor Who is there as well. You can see it. More and more people tuning out all the time. I do see people tuning in to see David Tennant reprise his role as the Doctor. I will probably be one of them. But here's the issue, is that if they do end up using Tennant as a way to continue the wokeification of the show, it'll be sad. Doctor Who will be ruined forever. I do believe that David Tennant will probably have his reputation trashed a bit, which is going to be very heartbreaking. But at the end of the day, this is exactly what woke culture is all about. It is destroying the previously established culture, the things that you love, in order to rewrite our culture, in order to normalize things that to be honest, shouldn't be normalized or to force politics into people's face that they would otherwise reject. This will be one more example if they do fail, which sadly I kind of think that they will. That's what I predict. They're going to use David Tennant as a way to basically inject you with more of their thoughts, more of their ideas, more of their beliefs. It'll be one more thing on the trash pile. One more thing that went woke and went broke. One more thing that has been ruined because people do not accept anything but their own politics, their own ideology. And it's sad. It's really sad. Doctor Who, again, been around for generations. And it just goes to show you just how horrible social justice politics is, and those who push it, how forceful they can be, and unaccepting, intolerant, and boring to boot. Their shows have to follow a very specific set of rules. And it's made their shows, their creations, their movies very, very, very predictable. And that's another reason people don't want to watch them either. They become so predictable that's to be boring. There's no character growth. Everyone has specific roles they have to play based on their skin color, their sex. The Bechdel test has to be passed. White men cannot be the good guy. Men cannot teach women anything. There can be no men that teach women at all. The women in the stories, if they're the heroines, are perfect when they start out and perfecter by the end. Female villains are just misunderstood. Goes on and on and on. It's the same nonsense over and over again. Doctor Who has been infected, and it will probably die just like Star Wars is probably going to die. Marvel is going to die. But there might be hope on the horizon, because once all the audiences leave and they can't be funded anymore, it just dries up. The support dries up. The funding dries up. New IPs will rise. Franchises will be given a chance to thrive. We're seeing that right now with the Rippaverse and Eric July. So hopefully, out of the flames and the ashes comes a new hatchling, something greater. We'll see. But in the meantime, rest in peace, Doctor Who. It was sad that you had to end this way. And I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. Hey, give the video a like. Please subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one.